There's a pretty one, Ulysses. There it is.
Well, hello, BookTube. I'm Sean the Book Maniac. Welcome back to my channel. So I don't have any chatty news other than geeky stuff about my microphone, but it's good news, I hope. I will only know for sure when I start to edit this video to see if it worked. I have made one video with the new setup last weekend, and it was perfect. So I have followed the advice of a couple commenters that said you need to replace the cord that goes from your mic to the converter thing that plugs into your iPad, because maybe that's the problem. And all the really cool booktubers that look like DJs, and they have this crane-like arm that they clamp to their desk so that the microphone is right up to their face. And so I've got one of those, which was like $20. The other thing was $10. So for $30 or less, I got the equipment, and I'll show you a picture of the crane-like mounted thing I've got by my desk. And I've so far I've made a few videos, only one of which has gone up. This will be my first Friday reads with the new equipment, and I think that my audio will be back to being of somewhat stellar quality. So if it doesn't, I'm just going to give up, because I can't afford to buy a new mic anytime soon. But let's hope this works. Hello. It's been an interesting book week. I've actually done a lot of good reading. I haven't finished any books yet. I think next week's Friday reads will be a doozy, but I'm not going to promise anything. But I have interesting stuff to talk about. So, unfortunately, nothing in the personal realm. I need some drama in my life. Does anybody have any suggestions of what kind of mischief I might get up to? It's getting cold out. I don't know how many more alfresco Friday reads there will be this year, but today it's a rainy day, so here I am. Oh, holy smokes. That is a Google timer. I'm boiling potatoes for my breakfast. Fried potato, fried eggs, and toast. It's 10:30. I slept late today, which is fabulous. My sleeping is back to normal. In fact, it's better than normal. I want to go to bed early, and I don't want to get up in the morning. I haven't slept this well for years and years and years. Anyway, I'm filming on my iPad, so I didn't want to use that timer because it would shut the recorder off, but that's an obnoxious sound, Google. It's the first time I've ever used Google Timer. Go check my potatoes now. Well, I'm checking the potatoes. Here's the week in review. It is a historical novel set in sub-Saharan Africa at the very beginning of the slave trade. She centers her story on a small, I'm not sure if tribe's the word, but the Malongo people, a small village with a chief and midwife and dignitaries and so on, a very well-organized, stratified society, but definitely a small community that one night is raided and set afire, and when they manage to get the fire out and take stock of what's happened, amidst all that confusion, they realize that 12 members of the village or the tribe are gone. Most of them young and able-bodied, a couple elders. That is the opening premise of this novel. And through that situation, Miano explores the wound of slavery from the African side.
It's called Home Waltz, and it's by Gordon Grissenthwaite. I can't show you a cover because I don't have one, but I can describe it to you. It's a painting of feathers that are hanging from beaded strings, and the feathers are kind of salmon colored, and then the background is a dark blue. And Grissenthwaite lives in Ontario, but he is from one of the Salish peoples in nations in Lytton, British Columbia.
I'm reading Sally Rooney. Life is Beautiful, Adam.
God. Oh no. How's it going? Can we get a teaser for that or no?
I love the writing, and it's too early to say much more, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking, I think it was last year you kind of rediscovered your love for children's literature.
I did.
So I think Sally Rooney kind of fits well into that kind of narrative, because of course no one can hold, if we can put that cover up, a picture of it, nobody can prop that book up and say it's an adult book, right?
Well, you better be careful what you wish for, Alba. What if he writes a memoir about you?
Whoa, that would be great. that would, and if it's a bad one, then, if it's scandalous, then I can spill the tea and write my own.
You can,
answer,
the war of the memoir.
Right?
There you go. So they're not done yet. So, because I'm not going to go on a rant about either of these books. I'm going to try not to go on a rant about either of these books because I know that there will be people watching that are big fans of both of these books that I bailed on this week. But I am not. I didn't get very far into Sharks in the Time of Saviors by Kawai Strong Washburn. I got that far. As I said in my bail review, I really was interested in the stuff about Hawaiian culture, spirituality, folklore, all that stuff. But I hated the characters. I just hated them. I didn't like the writing very much, but I hated the characters passionately. They were just so selfish and there was nothing interesting about their selfishness, so I couldn't stand it. I was worried because I talked my cousin Lindsay into buying the book. She's into sharks, and doing a buddy read with me, and she is adamantly opposed to bailing. She doesn't bail ever. She's had books on her current reads for 5 years now because she doesn't ever bail. But anyway, and I bailed on her, but she was not mad. She's not enjoying it, but of course she will finish it. This is commercial fiction. I don't, it's not literary. I would like to read a good novel that it's with interesting, well-developed characters and good writing from Hawaii. From an indigenous Hawaiian writer. Can anyone recommend some? This was not it for me. This is one of Yari of Drawn to Stories' favorite books, so I'm sorry it didn't work out for me, but if you should look up his comments on it. It's a bestseller, I think. It's a very popular book. New York Times 100 Notable Books. I should have known. There's pretty not very much on their 100 Notable Books that I like ever. But anyway, this wasn't for me. I'm not at all really worried about offending anybody that I hated this, but Bewilderment by Richard Powers. So first of all, this is Eric Carl Anderson loved it, and Eric and I often disagree. Lots of people loved it. Lots of people hated it. It is the Marmite book of 2021, I think. I loved the writing, but as soon as it started to get into that woo-woo territory that he got into with the tree book, the Overstory, I just bailed early because I knew, based on the negative reviews, that it was the exact same psychobabble in tree-hugging bullshit that it has no place in fiction. Like, if you want to read quality literary fiction that has an environmental thread to it, read Lynn Buckle's novel, What Willow Says. But this, it's gobbledygook. So, people that are more intellectual than me and are interested in the origins of the universe and stuff like that in their fiction, a sci-fi crap, would probably enjoy it. He is one of those white male writers that should just go away and make room for newer, fresher, non-white voices because he just drives me crazy. Eric has an interview to just put up last night, so go check him out if you're into Richard Powers. I could have gone farther into the book based on how much I was loving the sentences, but he just drives me crazy. All right, so those are my bails. So I started 2 last week, didn't I? Oh, you know what? I forgot to start one of the books that I said I was going to be starting last week. I completely forgot about it. That's the kind of week I've had. The Radiance of the King by Camara Laye. I completely forgot that I was planning to start that. Wow. Okay, so I'll start that this coming week, boys and girls. That's never happened to me before. But I am delighted to tell you how delighted I am. Utterly besotted I am. How far am I? 50 pages? Not quite. 40 pages into The Bonesetter's Daughter by Amy Tan. I love this so much. I just love the humor and the multi-generational all the Chinese lore that was in the very first chapter, and then this harried, she's not a housewife, this harried, married Asian American woman that met the man of her dreams at yoga a decade before or something, and now into their, 7th year of marriage. The rose-colored glasses have come off, and she's in a marriage that I don't know how bad the marriage is, but she's not as happy as she had been, and she's got a couple teenage stepdaughters that are not in love with her, and it's really funny and also deeply affecting. I can't remember if I've read anything by Amy Tan. This has sat on my shelf forever, and I've finally gotten to it. I'm reading it for a Zoom discussion with Nell of Gunpowder Fiction and Plot in December. So I'm going to read it very slowly, although maybe I won't read it very slowly because it's the one that I'm most interested in picking up because it's just so good and entertaining. My goodness, people, this is going to be well, I have been talking for 12 minutes, but it is going to be a pretty short Friday. Oh, better go check my potatoes. 2 things in the coming week. The only other thing that I'm going to get to for Victober is my Queen Victoria book. Curtain Down at Her Majesty's, The Death of Queen Victoria in the Words of Those Who Were There by Stewart Richards. It's a fairly short ebook, and it's just a first-person accounts by servants and I don't know who, family members, I'm not sure, about the death of Queen Victoria. So it's a Sean book through and through, and it's my Queen Victoria book for this year's Victober. So I'm looking forward to starting that. Also, I think I'll probably have started this before next Friday, but I wanted to mention it because I knew that this Friday Reads was going to be fairly short. There is a thing going around on email, and I think there's a blog. Let me find it here. Yeah, personalanthology.com is a blog by somebody named Jonathan Gibbs, in which he invites various writers, librarians, authors, I don't know who the people are, everyday people, everyday readers like you and me, I think, to submit annotated anthologies of their favorite short stories with, like I say, annotations, descriptions of why they like it, why they think it's an excellent short story. I have subscribed to it as a kind of an email thing. I'm going to put a link to the webpage, and if there's a separate page with instructions on how to get to the email subscription thing, I'll put a separate link for that. I haven't looked at the website in years, but I've been a member for years. And to be honest, I rarely look at it. It comes in the mail, I think, once a week. I'm not sure. It's an interesting idea that I don't have time to take advantage of. I'm really interested in short stories, and most of the ones that are featured in it you can read them online for free. I don't think that's a condition of it being eligible to be submitted, but in the latest issue, somebody mentioned a ghost story by one of my new favorite writers, Elizabeth Jane Howard. She is not a new writer. This was originally published, I think, in a book in 1951. It's called 3 Miles Up. So, you know me and seasonal reading. Adam of Memento Mori and I were bashing seasonal reading in our chat this week. And I hate ghost stories. I hate Halloween, really. I hate all holidays, actually. But I love Elizabeth Jane Howard. So this book exists as a PDF. I don't know why. I'm not asking any questions. I don't think the PDF was linked in the anthology email. No, but I found that there's a PDF that anybody can, I think it's out of print, so we're not really violating anybody's copyright, I don't think. I didn't look too deeply into any of those issues, but because it's available for free online, I asked my friend Leah, who is more of a seasonal reader and a ghost story lover, but my BookTube bestie in terms of we discovered Elizabeth Jane Howard together and have done 2 very, very successful buddy reads of her novels, if she would be interested in reading this one story only. And she said, of course. So I am doing seasonal reading in the coming week or 10 days of a ghost story. Because I figure if anybody's going to write a ghost story that I might like, it would be Elizabeth Jane Howard. So it's called 3 Miles Up. I'll put the link to the book that's available as, I think, a PDF or something. So you might want to read it along with me. What do you think? Do you think I'll like it? So that's pretty much all I have to say. So why don't I look at... I haven't done any BookTube shoutouts for a long time. I'm going to end by going through my history. Even though I'm not a Richard Powers fan, I've already shouted out Eric's very, very new chat with him about Bewilderment. Oh, and in terms of, I had Trevor of the Mooks and the Gripes website and podcast on my Bite-Sized Book Chats. This is an opportunity to let you know that their podcast is also available on YouTube. There's no video. It's just the audio thing rendered on YouTube. And so I'll put a link to that, because for those of you that have no time for podcasts but are kind of curious about this one, you can listen to it on YouTube. Their latest one is NYRB Classics Part 1. And Part 1 is 1 hour and 17 minutes. I've gotten just about 10 minutes into it. Mel of, I think she's even changed the name of her channel to Melanie Martin. So formerly of Mel's Bookland Adventures. Is that true, Mel? That's what it's showing up in my history as. Has a new series, What You're Reading, which has a mincemeat pie testing feature, which is fabulous. Jyotsna of Jyotsna's Bookscapades loved A Passage North by Anouk Erid-Progasm and has a short video review. Heidi of My Reading Life has trashed her TBR. If you're interested in more details, I'll link to that video. I'm lucky that she didn't throw out my favorite book of all time. Noah of Everyone Who Reads It Must Converse has put together this very creative, 30 seconds or something? 16 seconds called Some People, that is an expose of everything you wanted to know about how Steve Donahue reads so much. You got to check that out. And because this is also really short, here is a little teaser about some upcoming videos on John the Book Maniac. Here you go. In various stuff I have read, British nonfiction, literary biographies and so on, I have been getting glimpses of and become more and more curious about the Sitwells. So I finally I could get a used copy online for really cheap, and I was so delighted that it's such a nice used copy, hardcover copy of Facades, Edith Osbert and Sacheverell Sitwell. I don't know how to pronounce Sacheverell. Let's check that. I'm not sure we need it. It's a literary word that means dull and gloomy, and it also is an adjective, but the noun is particularly, and I would say as a Canadian who is not that familiar with British culture, or not as familiar with British culture as I should be, rather peculiar meaning in British English as the dark, formal clothing worn for exams and formal occasions at some universities.
It's World War II. It's about Heinrich, and sure, the graphic content in that is so moving. It's going to be a book that haunts me for a while. I know a lot of people haven't appreciated You Bailed.
Wow,
I remember
seeing
and but that book was haunting, actually.
It's a special treat to be discussing drama with Sean.
It's only taken a year and a half for anyone to take us up on our offer to join in on that.
Well, I misunderstood the invitation. I thought we were just going to create some drama on BookTube. I didn't realize we were talking about drama. All right, that's it. Thank you for watching.